Hi, HRN listeners. We're celebrating our 15th anniversary, and we have a really fun campaign and an ask for you. This 15th anniversary tour is aiming to bring you closer to unique food and music experiences in some of the most exciting cities in America. All the while, we're raising funds to support our work empowering the next generation of food systems storytellers through our fellowship programs. Here's how it works. Donate to HRN and be entered into a raffle in the city of your choice to win a dinner for two at a noteworthy restaurant and tickets for two to a concert at a prominent local venue. We have incredible partners in New York, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, Nashville, Las Vegas, Charleston, Asheville, and Ardmore, Pennsylvania, who have donated a meal for two and two tickets to a concert of the winner's choice. And all donations help fund our fellowship programs, where we're helping to build essential workforce readiness skills and food system storytelling skills. Check out heritageradionetwork.org/15 to donate and enter to win today. That's heritageradionetwork.org/15. Thank you.
Broadcasting live from Roberta's in Bushwick, Brooklyn, you're listening to heritageradionetwork.com. On behalf of everybody at heritageradionetwork.com, we'd like to send a special thank you to the Hearst Ranch, our biggest supporter and longest-running sponsor since we first started in 2009. Hearst Ranch is the nation's largest single-source supplier of free-range, all-natural, grass-fed, and grass-finished beef. Since 1865, the Hearst family has raised cattle on the rich, sustainable native grasslands of the Central California coast. The result is beef with extraordinary flavor that's as memorable and natural as the surrounding landscape. For more information, visit www.hearstranch.com.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America, from border to border, coast to coast, and all the ships at sea. Streaming live from the County of Kings, Brooklyn, New York City, on the Heritage Radio Network. Are you ready for the fastest half hour on the internet today? It's the Mike and Judy Show, spanning the globe for high-minded hijinks and lowbrow kicks to bring you the best in sex, drugs, rock and roll, and nuclear fission. They're too bad for radio and too good looking for television. And now, here they are, the Nichols and May of the Now generation, your hosts, Mike Edison and Judy McGuire.
All right, we're back here on the Mike and Judy Show. This is Mike Edison. We are streaming live from Roberta's in Bushwick on the Heritage Radio Network, except we're missing one crucial element of the show today. Judy McGuire. Judy is out sick with some sort of tropical disease, or so she says. So today I'm joined by my very, very special guest co-host, Miss Rachel Shukert, also too hot for television.
Hello. I feel like when Kathy Griffin co-hosts The View.
This is awesome, except the Jews have now taken over. We're going to do a holiday show, and we're missing the shiksa.
Yeah, now it's only devoted to one holiday.
But we got 8 days.
8 days.
Well, there are 12 nights of Christmas, I understand. Never really twig to that. One night you get a partridge, one night you get an 8-ball and a hooker. What is up with that?
Yeah, I think, well, they have those calendars. Remember those calendars, the advent calendars, and you open up the little doors on that giant. It's just another way to get people to spend fucking money.
Oh, right. They're like little pieces of chocolate. It's kind of like mystery date.
Yeah.
Except Jesus.
And you don't know what you're going to get.
Is Jesus your mystery date?
Right.
Like
and I was imagining that you get some kind of horrible fortune, as you opened up each one that was like, you are doomed.
I want chocolate Jesus to take me to the prom.
No, chocolate Jesus isn't going to take you to your prom.
Well, you love the holidays. I'm not such a holiday
Christmas.
guy.
I'm a Christmasist. I'm a Christmassy person.
You're a Jew for Jesus Christ.
I'm a Jew for Christmas. I'm not a Jew for Jesus. I'm a Jew for Christmas.
I'm a Jew for Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, well, that's similar. It's a similar kind of thing. My husband and I are currently locked in horrible fights about the extent to which I can decorate for Christmas and what is too Christmassy and where the line is, because he has a real chip on his shoulder about Christmas.
Yeah,
being another Jew, and he was like, "What is this bullshit? I married a Jewish girl, so I wouldn't have to fight about having a Christmas tree." Except he says it in a South African voice. So it's like, "I'm married to a Jewish girl, so I wouldn't have to fight about this."
We killed him 2,000 years ago. Enough already.
Yeah. Well, that's Easter.
So, well,
so that's the Easter holiday.
No, that's when he comes back. That's when he comes back.
No, first he gets killed.
Oh, that's right. That's right. See,
Good Friday. That's the day he's killed.
See, I'm just outing myself as an
For
ignorant
most people, the day
Jew
they're
from the suburbs.
crucified is Bad Friday. That would be a bad Friday, the day that you got crucified. But everything is opposites in Christianity.
It's like Michael Jackson. When he says it's bad, he means it's good.
Right, exactly. Shimon.
So what kind of Christmas schmaltz and kitsch do you actually put in your otherwise nice, lovely Jewish household?
Jewish home. Well, I think I've lobbied for some sort of snowflake themed decorations this year, which nobody can say is denominational. It snows on everybody.
That's seasonal.
Yeah, that's seasonal. I'm also arguing that sort of pine garlands and pine cones and things like that are seasonal, and I'm almost there. Seasonal. The Christmas tree is just going to be a point of contention.
Well, the Christmas tree. Okay, now you're crossing over into some serious goyish territory.
I know. I just figure eventually we're going to have a kid, and we're going to have to indoctrinate them with appropriate alienation and
guilt.
Yeah, guilt and resentment against mainstream culture. So I feel like that's already in us. So we can have a Christmas tree for like these last couple of years of freedom without any fear that it's going to do anything to us.
That's good. Then you can poison your child's mind.
Then we can poison our child and force them to go to Hebrew school and synagogue when we don't go, and tell them how none of this is for them.
Oh man, indicative of absolutely nothing.
That's tradition.
That's tradition. Indicative of absolutely nothing. The best LSD I ever took had a snowflake on it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I had some with Tweety Bird.
They told me every trip was different.
Every trip is exactly the same.
I don't know about that. You got a show coming up. You got a Hanukkah show coming up.
I did. I wrote a Hanukkah show.
I love that you wrote a Hanukkah show.
I wrote a Hanukkah show.
How many Hanukkah shows have you written?
This is my first explicitly Hanukkah show. I've been working on a Christmas show for some time, which is called Gore Vidal's A Christmas Carol, in which Gore Vidal is the Scrooge character, and he's revisiting all these feuds and things with people from his past. Like Jacob Marley is William F. Buckley, and he's like, "In life I was your enemy, William Buckley." Like it's like that.
Well, hopefully he'll have a better outcome than Gore Vidal's Caligula. But you've been like twirling Passover shows every year too.
Yes, and this Hanukkah show is a follow-up to Passover. So the Passover show is called Everything's Coming Up Moses, a very gypsy Passover, which is basically a retelling of the story of Passover through the plot and songs of Gypsy. This is 8 days more, a very Les Miserables Hanukkah, which is the retelling of the story of Hanukkah through the music and plotline of Les Mis.
Now, for people who don't understand Hanukkah, namely Judy McGuire. Hi, Judy. I hope you're listening. We're going to explain Hanukkah for you now.
Well, I actually had to do a lot of research. And by research, I went to the Strand, and I found a book from 1973 that Jewish Family Service put out to explain Hanukkah to people. It was one of those like dusty books that's like in the synagogue library that no one has taken off the shelf ever since it was placed there. And I found it for in the 99-cent bin. So I had to refresh, because the story of Hanukkah is very sort of vague, and basically it was a rebellion. So
well, there's a war.
There's a war.
The fucking Jews are always at war, right?
Yeah. No, this
never our fault, though.
But this one we won, so that's why it's a happy one instead of it's one of the few. So they so Judah Maccabee. So the Syrian Greeks or Assyrian Greeks, depending on which picture book you had as a child, as to who the oppressors were, they were, as usual, trying to get the Jews to assimilate into sort of Greek culture by forcing them to do horrible, horrible things like eat
souvlaki,
bacon, and participate in sports and other games, and go to the theater.
Well, Jews are okay with the theater. It's the sports.
Well, they weren't then. The sports,
bacon.
the naked sports, is pederasty is a problem. They banned circumcision, which is obviously was a big no-no.
No.
So Judah Maccabee led this armed rebellion against the powers that be to reinstate
circumcision. You must clip our cocks.
They were sort of the Taliban of the day. My favorite thing about them that I read, and this is sort of a forgotten, that before they started all-out war, he and his brothers, his 4 brothers, the Maccabee brothers, and his father Mattathias, who was this like renegade high priest who killed somebody. He killed a Jew that was sacrificing to Zeus, because the idea was that they were going to acclimate God into Zeus, and it would all be sort of, grafted together the way that Christianity did, where all the like saints sort of replaced idols and things like that, and it really isn't exactly monotheism.
This is a very good book that you got.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that good. I've extrapolated some things. But my favorite thing is that they were like living in the mountains, like in this rebel camp, and in the dark of night, they would sneak down into the villages below the hills and forcibly circumcise people.
Oh, man.
Why not circumcised? That was the thing. And it was like they were saving you or whatever. So eventually they started this armed insurrection, and they won, and that's like the miracle. And then they went back to the temple to reconsecrate the temple.
Well, the oil is the miracle.
The oil,
yeah. I like. Of course, you want to focus on the forced circumcision.
Yeah, well, that has got more comedy value, I think.
I know. They're like, oh god, I got to get some oil. I gotta go.
The drama. It's like people want to start fights on reality television. It's not fun to watch everyone get along.
I got to keep a lamp lit for 8 days.
Yeah,
you're right. It does not have the dramatic impact of.
Right. So they get
of the militant moils.
Right. I know, it sounds like propaganda from San Francisco. It's like anti-circumcision campaign that they're doing. But the evil rabbis come to steal your children's foreskins in the night.
They say it's a terrible job. It doesn't pay much and the tips are small.
Who cares? It's fine.
Well, as a Jewish man,
I've never heard anyone say that they missed their foreskin.
No, but as a Jewish man, I do fear the uncircumcised penis.
You shouldn't. They're horrible.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, they smell weird.
I've heard that.
I mean, I haven't seen that many, but because
I've heard that.
Yeah, I think that they look kind of scary. I don't know, they're weird, but there's like this little puckery thing that gets it looks like a tiny hemorrhoid cushion, like right on the tip of the thing, like a hemorrhoid cushion for a dollhouse.
Oh.
It's really pretty terrible, so then they went to the temple. They were reconsecrating the temple, and there was only enough oil to light the eternal light that was the lamp for one day, and it was going to take 8 days to get more oil.
Right.
And the miracle was that it lasted for 8 days. So God was not rebuffed by having to understand that they only had enough.
Unlike when I forget to pay my Con Ed bill, and boom.
Yeah. Oh, I think that we've got someone on the phone.
It's off. Do we really have someone on the phone?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
We do.
Hi,
Judy.
that voice. I know that voice.
I'm sticking up for the unclipped dicks over here.
Well, it's everybody's favorite chick. So Judy McGuire calling in from parts unknown. What's going on, Judy?
Well, I live with an unclipped dick, and
you outing your Greek.
He wrote a whole story about it, so it's out.
I had a friend that I found out he was uncircumcised, and I really had genuinely never known anyone that was American, and I was like, and I kept going around at a party somewhere like, oh my God, did you know that? I'm not going to say his name because he'll get mad again, but I'll give him a pseudonym. Ken, did you hear that Ken isn't circumcised? And he got really angry at me.
Well, my boyfriend was born in Greece. So.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
It must have been very sticky. Hey, do we think Salman Rushdie is circumcised? How's that for a segue?
Yeah, because Muslims are circumcised.
Okay, because how's that for a segue though? Because he wanted to talk about he's all over the paper today and this week for dining with that dimwit reality star. Judy,
he's just a coos hound with no taste.
Yeah, Judy,
that's exactly what he is. Thank you.
Yeah, right.
He is a
Although
coos
Padma
hound.
was beautiful.
Padma Lakshmi was beautiful, but let's be serious.
She still is, I believe.
She is a bimbo. I mean, she's a little bit of a bimbo. She's like the thinking man's bimbo.
Well, who do you suggest you go out with? Madeleine Albright?
I would suggest you go out with someone who could read a book without pictures.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Padma at least she could do that, probably. And I'm not convinced that this Devorah Rose woman is stupid.
She's awful.
She's awful, but she's not necessarily stupid.
She is awful. And the thing that surprises me about this story is she's humiliated. I mean, they went out to dinner a couple times, and then she didn't put out, and then he sort of said, okay, so let's not go out to dinner anymore. I mean, frankly, this happens in my life all the time, so what's the big deal?
I can't believe she didn't put out.
I know. I mean, seriously, if I had a fatwa put out on
who
me...
doesn't want to fuck Salman Rushdie?
Oh, my God.
Oh man, I'm looking at this picture of her. She just looks like the worst sort of harridan. And apparently, she's the editor of something called Social Life magazine.
That doesn't even exist. That's like some insert they put in your groceries in the Hamptons.
It is. It's like a penny saver for like.
Yeah, it's like at
Hampton
Cinderella
Florist.
in East Hampton. They're like, here, this comes free with your romaine.
Yeah, I saw her on the Housewives show.
Yes, she's on the Housewives show.
She's awful.
I know. She makes the housewives look sort of like classy doyens of society, which is pretty amazing.
I want to thank you guys for filling me in on the Hanukkah thing. I had no idea about the forced circumcision. It really puts a new spin on it.
Yes, and actually it's because of that I so one of the characters in my Hanukkah show is Mel Gibson, because it turns out that I read this, that Mel Gibson is actually has in development a biopic of Judah Maccabee, Warner Brothers, of all people. Mel Gibson is making a movie about a war the Jews started.
Well, you can trust him to tell that story straight.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's in good hands. But he's a character in it, and I read this interview that he did with Jeff Goldberg at the Atlantic, because Jeff is working on some Maccabee book, I guess, and they just talked the whole time about forced circumcision and blah, blah, blah. And Mel Gibson said, look, I'm circumcised. What the fuck? Who cares? Who cares? He doesn't talk like that.
After a few drinks, he does.
Yeah, but we now know that Mel Gibson is circumcised, so
that's good.
important.
You heard it right here on the Mike and Rachel show.
Yeah, so any Jewish girls looking to hit that, no fear.
Oi, so really, Judy, what the hell's wrong with you? What's going on?
I just have the same crappy cold that everyone has.
I had it 2 weeks ago. I sympathize. It's
Rachel
awful.
was telling me that she had some weird tuberculosis test.
Yeah, because I was coughing up blood. Have you coughed up blood?
Oh, God, not yet, but I guess I have something to look forward to.
Well, I just really freaked out because, they say that's a really... So I went to the doctor, and they gave me that punch in the arm, those like little... And they did not draw a kitten face around it like they used to in my childhood. And then you watch it for 3 days, and if the bumps raise or whatever, then you have tuberculosis. But I didn't. I just was coughing so hard that the capillaries in my throat had burst.
I worry that this is bioterrorism.
Yeah, maybe. Give everyone a really terrible cold.
All right, I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick break.
I picked out a really nice dreidel song for you kids.
Good.
I know, but we have something just for you today, Judy.
I don't know why. Oh, I don't know why. Matilda. Oh yeah, Matilda. Oh yeah, Matilda. Oh yeah, Matilda. Oh yeah. Second boss, same as the past. Jackie's book, Judy's a run. The book was down about it till I asked to play. I don't know why. Oh, I don't know why. Matilda, oh yeah, Matilda, oh yeah, Matilda, oh yeah, Matilda, oh yeah. Third boss, tip from the past, Jackie the punk, Judy the run.
All right, we're back here on the Mike and Judy Show today, starring our very special guest co-host, Miss Rachel Shukert, and we're just joined right now by our friend Jason Colucci, who does the show right after ours called The Morning After. What's up, Jason?
Thank you for inviting me in. This is great.
Are you
Jason.
kidding? This is kind of awesome. So we're talking about forced circumcision and holidays.
Well, no, I'm really
connected.
I appreciate you guys inviting me for the second, because this is actually, I'm going to give you guys an exclusive. My last name is actually Rosenstein.
And,
I
I thought we were trying to water down the Jew content here. Such a Jewy palooza without our favorite shiksa.
I don't know if two Jews is exactly a Jew palooza.
With
in
us
New
it
York
is.
City.
With us it is,
for
Rachel.
most people, it's just like dinner.
No. I kid you.
Uh-oh. Okay. The alarm went off.
Well, no, actually it is Jason Colucci, but my J-date name is Bagel Boy 101. But thank you for inviting me. I listened to the show, and also I have read your book, and we met at a show that Mike was co-hosting for Patrick Martin's before the Mike and Judy show happened.
Yes, which was very, very
That's
fun.
good. And which books? Remind us of which fantastic books you've written.
I think Jason is referring to my latest book called Everything is Going to Be Great.
Yes.
Yes.
Which is awesome. And your first book?
The first book was called Have You No Shame, and it's much Jewier than the second
The
book.
first, I agree. I like the
Yeah.
first book for its Jewy-ness.
Jewy-
It's soft,
Jewy-
Jewy center.
Soft Jewy center.
You're working on a new book, of course, right? Because
I am. I'm working on a couple of things. I'm working on a young adult series, which we're also developing for television, which is set in 1930s Hollywood.
any
it's very Valley of
forced
the Dolls.
circumcision?
There are no forced circumcisions, but there are a lot of other sort of forced, unpleasant rituals.
Little Fatty Arbuckle for the Fatty Arbuckle School of Dating.
Yeah, exactly, the Fatty Arbuckle. And then I'm working on another adult novel that I'm not ready to talk about too much, but it's coming along.
So, Jason, are you a fan of the holidays? I'm not too into this whole time. I mean, traditionally, it's kind of just a weird time. My dysfunctional family and whatever. I still have a hangover from my youth of just sort of. Nobody really being around, and it was never really a good time, and my parents fighting, and this sort of thing, and it's sort of that hangover is sort of still lasting into my my middle age, into my dotage. But now Rachel loves Christmas and Hanukkah, and Judy, Judy, if you're still tuned in, call back. Says, I asked her why does she like Christmas. She goes, because it's shiny.
It is shiny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
That may just be her autism speaking, of course.
I remember actually, it's nice to actually be on the show because I can talk a little bit more bluntly about my partying days, but probably some of my biggest partying was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and also probably Christmas Eve being in the restaurant industry. Those seems to be the whitest Christmases and Thanksgivings.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. No, I like that. I like the parties. What I like about Christmas is I feel like everyone is sort of celebrating making it through another year alive.
Yeah.
And we all reward ourselves by eating all kinds of terrible things and drinking heavily and giving gifts that no one needs, which I love. I love receiving gifts that I don't want, that I didn't ask for. And I like forcing those things on other people. I don't know. I like festivity, and I like that there's this... there's sort of a way to be festive, Well, like everything has to be in these
I
colors.
feel like you really get into it. I could just by looking at you, you're always well dressed. You really love to accentuate your ring when you talk. I feel like your house is perfectly wherever you go. It's just very.
You're like the Jewish Donna Reed.
Yeah.
That is delightful, but possibly the most inaccurate thing.
You have
anyone has
that
ever
dichotomy of two sides where there's something
Yeah,
that
I
we
have
hear
a-
about on the radio and there's something that happens at home.
I have a very waspy side.
I'm just always shocked and appalled. I mean, the whole, the Black Friday thing, and now people are pepper spraying each other, and people get killed and trampled on at Walmart. And
It's like a pagan ritual. It's like the true American spirit.
It's insanity. And also, I don't like Christmas music, which is kind of a real bummer around Christmas time. I figured if it was that good, we listen to it all year round, right?
Well, yeah, and there's always
You're
somebody.
assuming that we don't.
And you guys know a lot about these markets, but there's always a Christmas album being put out. I mean, do these things still make money? I mean, because they're still produced, I'm assuming.
It seems like it's a big thing in the UK. Like every year there's some comedian who puts out some sort of comedy Christmas single where they're like that, and people seem to buy them there. I feel like they have a lot. I don't know. Maybe they're less savvy.
I was walking by the bookstore and I made a comment. You guys probably will love this. It's like that idiot Michael Bublé wrote a book. Like what the hell is that guy talking about? And it looked pretty thick. Like So it's that the two things that play hand in hand. How do you guys feel about that whole other market of
I feel like if it pays for my advance,
seriously,
then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, if I could figure out a way to
I feel that way
monetize
about
it.
everything. I even made my peace with sort of like the whole.
Well, that's what being Jewish is. It's about monetizing Christmas.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that I don't mind that. There's always sort of Christmas tat that everybody buys, and we buy into it as a culture. But the whole Christmas book market is certainly interesting to me because I feel like there's this whole. It's almost like the wedding industry. Like there's it's this whole thing that mobilizes only sort of relevant for this very short period.
But it's perennial. You can set your watch by it. I mean, obviously, set your calendar by it. I did a Christmas song. It's called "I Walk with a Zombie." It's a version of it's my pro-methamphetamine Christmas song. It's obviously a white Christmas song, and you can find it on my website, MikeEdison.com, for anyone who wants to hear it. But the reason, honestly, I decided to make it a Christmas song is so I could pull it out every year and play it again.
I just think at this point
it was a very cynical marketing strategy.
No, exactly. And I think at this point, at there's any way for creative industries to have like a foolproof way to make money once a year, I'm totally for it.
Well, you're in the restaurant business. I mean, this is a good time of year for you guys.
It is. It spikes. It's unpredictable in the sense that you never know in sort of the New York City tourism what's going to happen, and there's a sense that you can figure out what days will be big, but sometimes in tourism stuff you can't put your number your hand exactly on what the numbers are going to be. But it definitely it helps out. And the week after Christmas is probably one of the biggest weeks for restaurants.
Yeah.
The week between Christmas and New
Yeah,
Year's.
because everyone's
Huge.
on vacation and
Huge week.
Yeah.
But that's a good week. I hate New Year's Eve too. I cannot stand.
Oh, I hate
fucking
New Year's Eve.
I mean, it's amateur night. We all know that. But
Yeah.
my dream New Year's Eve is like to send out for a pizza, get a 6-pack, and watch the Twilight Zone marathon.
I just always try to be out of
give
town.
me a handful of Valium on top of that, and I'm one happy New Year's Eve camper.
Yeah, I like to be somewhere as sort of quiet as possible. Like just
It's
far
never
away.
any good. New Year's Eve, all those years I went to parties, in my 20s, getting drunk and expecting to get laid. Well, that never happened. Wake up feeling
Exactly.
like shit alone.
Spend
and-
$400.
And,
Yeah.
and it's just always a bummer.
Well, there's that insanely inflated New Year's Eve price. Again, it's like when you get married and you're like, I need you to do my hair, and then you say it's for your wedding, and they're like, okay, that'll be $200, and then you're like, oh, well, it's for my wedding, so I'll bring my veil, and they're like, oh, it's for your wedding, that's $800.
Yeah.
For your
No, there's a
Jewish wedding?
It's $1,200.
No. There's like a New Year's Eve tax too in
Yeah.
restaurants where like all of a sudden bouncers and DJs rates double for whatever reason.
Right,
Apparently,
exactly.
it's like oh New Year's Eve, $400.
Man, I just want to stay off the fucking street on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, to me it's like Valentine's Day, but like for everybody, that it's sort of designed to make you feel bad if you don't have something fabulous to do, and it's just a way of gouging insecure people.
It's all designed to make our
Yeah.
people feel bad, Rachel.
How do you?
Our people.
Can I turn the tables 1 second because I feel like it's your show, but no one asked you this question. How do you guys like book touring and stuff? Because you guys do that a lot, especially.
I love my last tour. I've been having the best time
yeah.
of all time. I've been, for those of you who've been tuning in, or those of you coming in naked, I've been touring my new book, Dirty, 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 which is a pop culture history of men's magazines, sort of from Hugh Hefner and Bob Guccione and Larry Flint and Al Goldstein. And I've been in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Detroit, Chicago. I had a pizza named after me in Chicago?
What's on it?
It's the Mike Edison Dirty Pie. This is the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
What do you like? Come on it
Since-
before you put it out.
Since my forced circumcision, and it occurs to me, Rachel, aren't all circumcisions forced?
Yeah, and don't all pizzas probably have semen on them by the time they get
This
to
is
your
probably
door?
not the best way to sell a book, but yeah, to me, I like the tour, but I got this sort of crazy kind of DIY punk rock way of touring, and I bring a band with me, or a piano player at least, and my theremin rig. I had this jazz band in San Francisco. I had our friend Howie Pyro played with me in Los Angeles, who plays with Degeneration, was in Danzig's band. And so I make a big fucking racket when I go out and tour, and it turns into kind of a happening. I understand
Yeah.
other authors just bring copies of their books and
I'm
read
quieter.
from them.
I'm a quieter tourer.
You are. That's that other side of you. That's that
Yeah,
other side.
I have to say though, what I do like about being on tour is that I really like going to cities that I would otherwise probably never.
Yeah, but the
get
difference
to.
between you and me, Rachel, is you're naturally charming, and I need all this like the artifice of like amplifiers and a rock band to put it over.
You're adorable.
But Rach, are you being optioned at all for that book? Because I was when I was reading it, I was thinking Winona Ryder the whole time.
Oh, that's nice. I actually.
Is she the thief? Is that the?
Yeah, she's the one that stole the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I'm working with Flower Films in LA, which is Drew Barrymore's production
Barrymore's,
company. We're developing it for TV.
Awesome.
So
Boy, such
watch
an
it.
amazing bunch of talented kids we have on this show.
you know.
I mean, well, first of all, thank you for letting me on. It was funny because Mike, when I first got the show, we were talking about having a station fight, and then actually a station fight almost happened. And we're not going to mention who the person is. We're not going to give them any extra publicity. But there was somebody that was working with that.
I want you to tell me who it is after.
Well,
we'll talk about it after. But
Okay.
I pitched to Mike. I said, hey, let's have a station fight just to make things interesting in the beginning. The first day I met him, like when I had the show.
yeah, it was not a fight you were ever
funny.
going to win, pal.
No. But the thing was, somebody had to be the bad guy, and I was like, who cares? I don't care.
Yeah,
I'll
but
be-
I work heel. I always work heel.
So we kind of went back and forth, but the irony of it, there was actually a fight, and there was somebody that was part of the show that wasn't.
Dude, that guy was such a tool.
I agree 100. I agree 100%. I'll go on
This
record.
is a killer business, this radio business, especially here at the Cutthroat Heritage Radio Network.
I know. I like the idea of radio feuds.
You know-
Like, it would be hilarious to find out that, like, Ira Glass and David Sedaris are bitter enemies who threaten each other's lives.
Yeah, I'd like to see like David Remick in a fair fist fight.
He can't fight in a fair fist fight.
So you're married, right, Rachel? I mean, obviously.
I am married, yes.
And how long? This is.
I've been married for 5.5 years.
And when did you first meet Mike? What was that? Because I don't know if you guys spoke about that at all. I just want.
Jason's taking over the show. You hear that?
I'm not
Judy?
taking. I'm not. No. I feel, no. It's.
He's the.
I'll shut up.
It's the intrepid Colucci who lurks on J-Date as a Jew.
We met 3 or 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, we did a gig together.
Yeah, we did a gig
We
together.
did a gig together, and it was
friends.
just one of those magic moments in the history of literature.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was like when Dickens wrote, "I was born."
Yeah, it was like that.
Call me.
Choir of angels sing.
And you both are literary death thing owners.
We are both champions.
We are both literary deathmatch
champions.
champions. We should start
We
wearing
should start wearing our medals when
medals
we're together.
Yeah.
And only when we're together. Like the U.S. swim team.
Totally. Put on that thing. I feel like Mark fucking spits on the box.
There was
of
no way I
Wheaties.
was going to fucking lose that
No
thing.
way was I
I
dropping
would've done
that.
anything.
No way.
I would have jerked off on a pizza.
Not my pizza, pal.
No, but
No, you didn't say what actually is on your pizza.
Oh, so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's a gumbo based pie. It's a andouille
wow.
sausage, green pepper, shrimp, okra. It was made by our friends at Ian's Pizza in Wrigleyville in Chicago. And shout out to my friend Natalie from BaconDestroy.net who put this together. And the great thing about the tour is we set up. I had my piano player, the world's greatest piano player, Mickey Finn, with me, and we'd set up in the pizzeria and do the show, which gets blue very, very fast. And I work.
Yeah.
I work.
You only
blue.
work blue. You only work blue.
And once the cocksucking begins, you have half the restaurant who's there to see my show, loving it, and then you have all these other people there, like, what the fuck is going on? And typical of the Mike Edison book tour, the Dirty, Dirty, Dirty tours, pizzeria one night at the University of Chicago, in their best lecture all the next.
It's high-low.
And then it was a dive bar.
Your potent high-low
And then
blend.
last week I was at the New York Public Library. It's
very
like
classy.
that. And
What did you wear to that? Did you wear your fez or did you wear?
never mind what I wore, but the best part of it, Rachel, you love, is when you talk at the New York Public Library, an afternoon lecture, who goes to those things? Old Jewish guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
and
these guys-
ladies and women.
Yeah, but it was a lot of like Jews trying to get something for free at the New York Public Library at a Tuesday afternoon.
There's a Mets game on
And-
somewhere. They got to go see.
Anytime there's something in the afternoon like that, though, it's just a lot of sort of people there trying to. I mean, it's the way that soap operas. It's like the unemployed and the house. You get a very particular audience. My favorite thing like that. I remember being on a panel. Years and years ago, before I'd ever written books, I was very, very young. I was maybe 23, 24, like just very beginning my career. And I had written a piece.
Like last week.
No, but I had written a piece for Nerve that was in this anthology that it was a party. So I was on this panel it was like me, Douglas Rushkoff, and Jay McInerney, and it was ridiculous, and I was terrified. And I was, we were at the Borders in Time Warner Center, the late lamented Borders, and the whole audience was basically homeless people. And we were and they were giving out these little, because the book had been sponsored by Svedka, so giving out these little promotional shots of cocktail and things to people while we were sort of asking questions, and we were sort of talking about our pieces, and I was and then finally, they opened it up to questions, and they call on this woman who's sitting there, surrounded by her possessions in garbage bags, with 3 or 4 empty, little shot glasses. And she's like, "Yeah, I got a question."
Oh, you know
and they're
what?
like, "Okay." And she goes, "Why can't Borders ever give us anything good to listen to?" It's the best thing.
You move her a few blocks uptown to Moment. It's called an installation.
Yeah, right.
So I cannot believe it. That this show once again the fastest 30 minutes in internet
Super fast.
history. It
We didn't even get to
flew
talk
by.
about the Muppets.
We didn't talk about the Muppet, the new Muppet movie,
time.
except that Rachel and I both cried.
Well, if you guys are both around next week, I'd like to open an invitation to both of you guys to come on the morning after.
Oh man, you
Whoa.
see, this is good. We're networking now. Rachel, before we go, tell us about your show and where we can see it.
Oh, okay. So my show, 8 Days More, A Very Les Miserables Hanukkah, is at the 92nd Street Wide Tribeca on December 15th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets are on sale on the 92nd Street Wide Tribeca website.
Cannot wait.
Yes, and you're gonna love it.
All right, and thanks to Jason Colucci
you,
of the
guys.
Morning
Thank you.
After.
I
Stay
appreciate
tuned. His show's coming on right after ours, and of course Judy McGuire. We miss you like crazy. You are our favorite, and you picked out
Judy.
Yeah, and you picked out a special Christmas song for
I
us
did.
today, didn't you, Rachel?
My favorite Christmas
And
song.
thanks to Carlos sitting in for Jack today, back there twirling the knobs. Carlos, why don't you give us some of that Christmas music, and we'll see you guys next week.
Don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need. I don't care about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you could ever know. Make my wish come true.
Hey there, I'm Lee Ullman here with some big news from the National Young Farmers Coalition. We're partnering with Heritage Radio Network on a special season of The Farm Report. It's all about what's happening with the Farm Bill and how it impacts farmers and eaters.
I am growing diversified vegetables on land that's been in our family for 150 years.
And so with the pandemic, gentrification, property values going up, we had to sell the land and we lost it.
Join us as we uncover the untold stories behind this massive piece of legislation that shapes how we grow our food, what we eat, and so much more.
The problems we have had, those are things that come from earlier Farm Bill and USDA policy, right? Like Earl Butz, get big or get out.
You know, it's my responsibility to know not only what I'm eating, but then like how that all came to be. And realize like, wow, like this piece of legislation, all this money, like it's technically something that I support as a taxpayer.
While Congress debates the next Farm Bill, this is not just an invitation to listen. It's a call to action. Be part of the conversation. Subscribe to the Farm Report on Heritage Radio Network, wherever you listen to podcasts.